In such a hot year for gaming, it doesn't seem like we're slowing down at all. This is Final Fantasy XVI.
I need a reason.
I can't believe my time with Final Fantasy XVI. As someone who's played a little bit here, a little bit there, kind of gone in with Final Fantasy X, skipped the 7 remake, went into 15, and now after playing 16, that's right, Final Fantasy 16, and now makes me want to go back to play Final Fantasy VII Remake. Why? Because Final Fantasy 16 is easily one of the best games I've played this year. This is a showstopper. When a game is put with a budget and given the time to the studio to actually take the deserved time they need to produce such a well-beloved franchise, so they take care of the IP, they take care of the characters, and do it right, you get a masterpiece of Final Fantasy XVI. Coming off hot praise already, I know. This is something I wasn't anticipating. I knew I was interested in Final Fantasy XVI, but I didn't know it was actually going to captivate me this much. The story alone had me hooked right from the very beginning of the game. This is where you have minutes. You only have minutes to captivate your gamer. In this case, that story was all I needed to have me push through the entire game. It was one of those, you put it down, you walk away, but you cannot wait to get back into the game. The story is so cool. It has so many cool characters that you feel connected to. That's the other side of it as well. These characters, I believe in their stories. How it all started, where it's going, the fight and struggle for power within the game, family within the game. There is this blight that's taken over. Our main character, Clive, is a dominant, which means he's able to wield special powers, and there's others called bearers that are in the world as well, and these two forces are looked upon as a negative within the game, which is so weird because they have the power to basically kind of rule the world, but yet they're shunned within the world. And the normal people, like you and I guess we'll call it, where the villagers and such, don't like them. And it's such a power shift and a struggle within the game, and then all the realms fighting against each other. There's so much to unpack within the story. I found myself constantly dissecting. Even now, I'm still dissecting part of the game that just keeps me going. I'm going, man, this part was so cool. That part was so cool. What a twist here. When you think you got one part figured out, they hit you with something else. The story is definitely a standout for me, and it was the thing that motivated me to keep going within the game. I cannot wait to talk to others about the story. I've been so enthralled with it all. I just can't believe everything that's gone on. The attention to detail, the backstory, the opportunities of side quests are there too to kind of help, progress throughout the world. But for me, the main focus was the main story. I went deep dive right into the quest and kept going that way. There is a multitude of side quests that keep you going as well, but for me, it was all about finding out more on Clive's story and the rise of the Phoenix. The boss battles in this game are just staggering. The dominants are so massive in scope, scale, the world. There is just, when you think you played a cool moment, just wait, because you are not done. Because every time you get into the next one, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you gotta go, how did they come up with all this stuff? All this amazing gameplay that keeps you going. Here's the thing, when it comes to old Final Fantasy games, it's always been a turn-based combat system. Now we're into this real-time genre when it comes to Final Fantasy that they're looking to, how do we captivate more of a broader audience? And this is what really drew me in as well. Not only did the story keep me going, but the combat system itself is fast, it is fluid, it is silky smooth, and the abilities you gain as you progress are just another piece of the showstopper when it comes to Final Fantasy XVI. The combat is so fun. And it was one of those things, I couldn't wait to get into that next situation where I'm battling something else. Some of these boss fights get into, well, some pretty lengthy boss fights. 45 minutes was one of them just the other day for me, and I was like, wow, I'm still doing this. And it was one of those that just kept going and going and going. But it's a ton of fun, mixing up your powers, honing in on the RPG element. How do I highlight some of the other features that I have, some of these abilities, and increase them? It's an RPG, right? So you're gonna look into doing this. There's a crafting element too that I found I didn't really do for the first half of the game, but the second half, I was like, okay, I need to get back to my hideaway and then get into building and crafting some of the mechanics that I need to help me progress through the story. There's always a highlight for me when a game introduces photo mode. Unfortunately, Final Fantasy XVI photo mode is not good. It's pretty bare bones, empty, and I might as well just pause the game and take your screenshot. That was pretty big letdown when it comes to the game, because there's so many wow moments that to capture that in a screenshot, tweak it to the 9th degree, and then be able to post that, share that with your friends, put it out on social media, is a missed opportunity within Final Fantasy. I get there is a lot under the hood here when it comes to the base game. There's so much to unpack and take care of, and they did. They focused heavily on that. I think that was great, but that extra little bit with the photo mode feels like it was just tossed in, and it feels kind of useless. I was actually taking screenshots on my PS5 by pausing the game. That was it. Not really going into the photo mode because there isn't much to tweak. Depth of field, and that's really about it. A little let down on that case. My other small struggle is the audio level itself. There's a balancing issue here because all of a sudden when you're talking to people, your volume is at one case, but when you get into a fight, the audio level just skyrockets. So you're constantly either turning up your TV or you're turning it down, or you're boosting up your headset or you're turning down your headset. There is no balance. It's one thing to get into a fight and have the audio jump up a little bit, but it's another to go way up. And that's where the struggle was constantly for me. I was turning up and then I was turning down my volume and turning up my volume. That would have been a finer gradual shift in audio. I get we're into a fight and it needs to be a little bit louder. That's cool, but don't blast my eardrums. Final Fantasy XVI is an absolute beautiful game. Graphically, so pretty. There is never a hiccup, a glitch, no nothing. That's right, there's not even a day one patch. This is something we never see out of studios anymore. Every time a game launches, there's hiccups, there's bugs, there's glitches, there's this, that, and the other. Final Fantasy XVI, nothing. Everything works. It looks great. Everybody is fantastic. The voiceover is awesome. Final Fantasy XVI is my game of the year as of right now. Something I did not anticipate saying whatsoever, but here I am. So much under the hood. I cannot wait to talk to everybody else about this game because it is on everybody's game of the year list. For me, Final Fantasy XVI wraps up with a 10. You have to play this. If you've never played a Final Fantasy game and looking to get in, here's your chance. This is a great way to start. So much fun, so much to do.